Good morning, citizens, and welcome to Friday. You made it. This is the last day of today is the current event submission. It has changed a little bit. I'm looking at the clock right now. Still no results coming in. We're just going to patiently wait. We may have a president today. Who knows? We shall see. But there have been, of course, a lot of current events, and you might want to look up something that has nothing to do with elections or politics or the like, and that's perfectly fine. You might want to be looking for some positive news this week or for some bummer news, whatever you might want to search for. One of the new additions for this week is that there is the question that asks you to make a connection to the past, and that, of course, is our goal here always in this class is understanding the past for sure. But the reason we study the past, we try to understand past civilizations. It can get pretty boring and tedious for some of those civilizations for sure. Is to try and understand how did we learn, how did we get to this spot, and can we do better from it? So, for instance, in the United States, the eighth graders are studying that the nation itself has always been in conflict. And what do you do with that conflict? Our founding fathers, of course, well, I shouldn't even say fathers, our founders came together and made a constitution that allowed slavery. But it was part of a compromise. There was a bigger thought behind it of keeping the union together. Of course, the question of slavery came a little bit later down the road, about 80 years later, where you have the question of what do we do with this in the 1860s? And it became a matter of civil war in that conflict. The South was ready to secede, to leave the Union at that point. And then that still did not resolve things with slavery and race relations in the United States. So, these are things that always kind of harken back, like, how did this get started? Where did this come from? So when you're looking today, don't go that deep. Nothing's quite that big. So, for instance, if you find a furry animal saving another furry animal, perfectly awesome. I love to have those stories. What is a connection to it? Is there another story of some animal saving another that it reminded you of? Does it remind you of something that happened in your own personal history? That's okay to put in too, because your history is part of history. So it doesn't have to be just something that was published someplace else. So in that question there, where it says make a connection to something that happened in the past, it could be something that was written on the internet. It could be something that was written in a newspaper. It could be something fictional. That's okay too. It could be, but maybe stay away in the fiction because we're trying to connect the history there. Right now that I'm rethinking that one, but it could be something that happened in your own life. The first time that you had your own puppies, whatever it might be. This week might be completely all about elections, and it could be something about a class you learned in Mr. Johnson's class. That'd be great too. Whatever it might be, it's your connections, but just make sure you pay attention to that one as well. And I hope you have a great weekend. It's supposed to be snowy at some point. It's supposed to be fantastic. It's Colorado, so we'll see what happens. And I will see you guys on Monday.